It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is news that you can use from CarEdge for Tuesday, July 23rd, with your hosts, me, the fat dude, Ray, and Zach, the skinny, handsome dude. How are you today, handsome?
I don't feel great about you calling yourself fat, but I am doing awesome because today we have a guest, Brandon from Car Questions Answered, joining us. Brandon, so good to see you. Happy Tuesday. How are you?
Great to be here. I always love jumping on the show with you, especially when we're talking about some earnings reports, because that is one of my specialties. I like dissecting some of these numbers. It's very fun.
Very excited to jump in. We've got the GM news that we're going to dive into in just a second. And I'm going to double back and actually do the opposite of what I just said I was going to do a moment ago, Brandon and Pops. I want to let everyone know first and foremost today, we are launching a new program with Brandon from Car Questions Answered. You can check it out, caredge.com/CQA. Brandon, let's take 30 seconds here. What the heck is on this website? You can buy cars online from CarEdge from your lot. Is that what's going on? Help us understand here.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're doing a soft launch of some cars that I'm buying. We are, go ahead and click on one. We are trying to be the most transparent car dealer in the world, and CarEdge is helping us do this. So literally you can see how much I paid for it. That's the purchase price. That's what I paid for it at auction. The auction fee is what I paid the auction company to be able to buy at their auction. We have a pre-purchase inspection that was done by an outside company to come in. So I'm just not telling you it's a good car. Somebody else is going to be able to tell you it's a good car. We have all the repairs that I did. We outlined that. That one, we only had an oil change. So it was $49. And then we have our detail. We have all that listed. You can see exactly how much I'm making on the car. You can see how much CarEdge is making on the car, and that is what you're paying at the bottom. There's no dock fees, no nitrogen, no recon fees, anything like that. What you see is exactly what you're paying, and that is what we are trying to do. Now, this is a service that we're going to do. So if I'm able to buy a car cheaply at auction, then you're going to be able to buy it cheaply through CarEdge, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Zach can talk a little bit more about the logistics of how we can put customer and car together. But this is something that we're really passionate about. We want to be as transparent as possible. I want you to see everything. We have pictures of everything. And if it's not a perfect car, you're going to see the imperfections. This is what I want to show you right here.
Such a cool program, and I want to get Pops' take because this is all news to him. But yeah, it's super simple. You get the online car buying experience that CarEdge provides, and you don't have to worry about anything because Brandon, you're buying it from his lot. It's going to be incredible to obviously share this with our community, but hopefully also maybe create some content with folks that purchase these vehicles, document their experience, make sure that it's positive. And again, the URL is caredge.com/CQ. Check it out. Let's see if tomorrow when we come on the show, if there's even 3 cars still available. The most transparent way to buy a car on the internet. General Motors, take note, folks. You might want to copy this in the future, but we're going to send you an invoice if you do. Pops, your take on it?
Well, the magic words for me were soft launch, because at my age, everything's a soft launch. I got it. There is what? There is nothing more exciting than being able to share total transparency with people. And I've already seen some comments, 30% markup, what a rip, whatever. You know what? We are never going to please everybody. And as long as we can please most people, I'm okay with that. If this much transparency and honesty is too much for people to handle, well, I don't know what to tell them. Bless you, Brandon, and bless you, Zach, for making this happen.
I have a question about math. Is $3,000 on a $20,000 investment? Is that 30% markup? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I mean, folks, the transparency is really what we're leaning into here. And obviously, we want that to resonate with the community. If it doesn't, share your feedback with us. We'll obviously try and find ways to improve. Gentlemen, shall we go to the main news story of the day? If you have questions about the program, leave them in the chat, and we will address them throughout the show. The big headline this morning, General Motors stunning the auto industry. GM increasing their guidance after posting 14% higher profit and a record Q2 revenue. They also adjusted their earnings expectations for the remainder of the year up. They're making more money than ever before, more dollars coming into the organization, more profit than ever before, yet their stock is down. And what I can't reconcile here, Brandon and Pops, is everything that we look at says the auto industry is slowing down, that we're reaching a point of plateau, a significant plateau, inventory building up, sales dwindling, interest rates are really high, customers are refusing to purchase. Yet these earnings reports come out, at least for GM so far, and they are doing great. Brandon, what's your read on the room here? Which side is it? Are things rosy or are things, dire?
So it was a great quarter. The numbers were good. So I think the big reason why Wall Street didn't like it. So we saw that when they initially released the numbers, that there was a pop of 5%, and then almost instantly when market opened or whatever, we have -7%. I think that's it was sitting at -6 or -7% last time I checked. So you have a 10% whoosh straight down, but the earnings reports look great. So here's the things that they outlined, at least from what I've read. I haven't listened to the earnings call yet; it's too soon. But from what I've gotten from the notes, is weakness in China is a big time problem for GM going forward. Lots of headwinds. Commodity prices is what they're anticipating going up. Inflation's the word, right?
Yep.
So they're anticipating those prices going up second half of this year. Also, something that me and Ray talked about before this live was marketing. They're anticipating that they're going to spend a lot more on marketing in the second half of this year. So if we read between the lines, something that we can pull from that is that, okay, maybe they're expecting more weakness from the buyer. And for them to gain more market share, they have to spend more in the marketplace to actually put their vehicles in front of consumers. And the way they do that is spend money, ad spend. That's what they do. So they're anticipating having to spend more money on that. And for those are the big three negatives that I saw. Also, a wind down of some of their EV operation, just a little bit. But those are the big things that I was able to read to see as negatives that maybe Wall Street doesn't like. But Wall Street is seeing something, even though the quarter was good, they don't like it.
So if I hear you correctly, and part of the conversation you and I had before the show, and one of the reasons I don't get the stock market is when somebody reports good news, it's bad news to the stock market, and bad news is good news to the stock market. And you said, no, Ray, you have to look a little deeper at the numbers. And the big takeaway is they expect to spend more in marketing, which is, in your mind, them saying the market's going to get softer, and it's going to cost us more to move cars moving forward in the second half of the year. And if that really is the case, well, that's everything we've all been saying for the first 7 months of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and this is something that we've dealt with for a while. And if you look back at the earnings reports from the last, I think, 2 quarters now from both GM and Ford, they both got a pop on the numbers, and then they sold off when the earnings calls hit. Now, this was not the case with GM this time, where there wasn't anything said during the earnings call, at least from what I can see from the notes, that was really saying that, okay, there's problems coming on. They actually raised their guide too, from what I saw. So it's just that the stock market investors, they're forward looking, and if they're seeing that, okay, China is a big deal, and if they're losing money in China right now, and they don't see really a way where GM's going to flip that switch to be able to make a lot of profit in China, that's a big problem for their stock going forward. And then on top of that, your inflation that is still getting them. For whatever reason, we should not be having to even really talk about this. Inflation, it seems from core numbers at least, that it should be backing down, but GM is telling a different story of what they expect to happen. That could have something to do with where they think interest rates are going. That could be something where they feel like, okay, depending on what candidate is going to be in office, it's all up to speculation of what GM thinks, but they think that inflation's still going to be a problem, and their pricing is actually going to go up on what it costs them to make cars, and really them having to spend more money on their marketing budget is not necessarily a great sign if it's going to cost more, but your margins are going down. That's not good for future outlook. Zach's trying to run this company. He's going to publicly trade at some point. He can tell you that, okay, costs going up, margins going down, never a good thing.
Never a good thing. All right, so I was just listening in the background there for a moment. Advertising expense going up. I interpret that both in terms of like trying to get new customers in the door, so Super Bowl ads, TV ads, radio spots, all that fun stuff, and also incentive spend. So I would be surprised if you don't see General Motors increasing incentive spend to try and move the metal. And then the inflation conversation, Brandon, I hear that as a scapegoat. That is exactly how that lands with me. That is a justification for why you're going to see margin compression, and also why you're going to see oh, there you go, thumbs up, and price increases for their vehicles. And I will say GM has been one of the brands that has increased their prices the least of the big three in the United States. We track car price inflation back on CarEdge.com, and they are like the best of the worst in terms of increasing their MSRPs and removing the entry-level trim options. For example, you can get a Chevy Trax under $25,000. Ford can't say the same thing. Ram certainly can't say the same thing. Stellantis and in general can't say the same thing. So I think they're going to use that as a justification to kind of catch up to their peers. And I wanted to show you both some data. You guys know me. I'm big on the data. So I went to the CarEdge car search. I'm looking at Chevy 1500s. I'll click on this first one here. This dealer's had this vehicle for a heck of a long time, this 1500, but I want to show you the days supply. So we are in Atlanta. We've been in Atlanta the past couple days here on the channel, Brandon. There's a 116 days supply of 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500s. When I go over and I look at the Rams, 2 out of the first 3 are 2025s, not even 2024s. I'm going to click on this Laramie right here, and we can actually see the days supply of Ram 1500s are 540 days in that market. And then let's look at a Ford F-150 real quick. Drum roll, please. 129 days. All right. So, we can start to see here, there's at least slightly less supply for General Motors. So maybe they're in slightly better footing than especially Stellantis, but still not great. Go for it, Pops.
The thing I noticed was the General Motors price, the Silverado pricing was much less than the Ram pricing and somewhat less than the Ford pricing. Yep. Which could explain a day supply issue. Just thinking. I don't know much about much, but the more expensive you make your stuff, the longer it's going to take to sell your stuff.
One thing they did say that I saw was that, okay, their incentive spend was less than any of their competitors. So that's one thing that they probably have some room to move up if they do have to pull some levers to actually get some of these trucks to move off these dealers' lots. They can probably increase incentive spend. And because they're the lowest of the 3, maybe that's another reason for investors to be a little bit worried, because they know it's probably only up from here. Because they do have that wiggle room from what they're making on their trucks currently.
Question for you guys. Let's speculate just for a moment, and then we'll switch gears and we're going to talk about the used car market. Do you think when we get Ford earnings and Stellantis earnings, they're going to be rosy, or do you think they're going to be dire, or do you think they're going to be very similar to what we've seen here with General Motors? What do you think, Pops?
I think they'll probably be similar to General Motors. I think all the brands will end up making more than people thought that they were going to make, proving yet again for these manufacturers that you can make more by producing less, and just continuing to build the high profit margin, high priced vehicles that the 17% of the buying public says they can still afford.
What do you think, Brandon?
I'm going to take the under on Ford and Stellantis. Stellantis even more so. Now I know that I'm the European side of it. I have no clue. I know that Stellantis is going to do way better over there than they are here, especially in profitability. But what I'm curious to see is really Ford's numbers, because I think it's going to be more telling of the American market if it's just a element of, okay, GM's doing it right. And I think Ford's going to tell more of the story of what the market is actually doing, just because they've bit off a bigger piece of the pie as far as EV spend. So I'm curious to see that. I know that they backed off a lot, but I want to see how much money they're trying to lose in the next couple quarters in the EV space, and I think that's going to really weigh down. And if we don't have this buffer of fleet vehicles, which I feel like sales on the fleet side have come down a little bit. I'm interested to see those numbers and really what they're seeing from their consumer, because I do think Ford is going to be weaker in that piece of the market compared to what GM's just showed us.
Yeah, well, GM has had a really strong fleet business, and so has Stellantis. Ford's tried to as well. But here's my take on it, guys. Q4 is right around the corner in Wall Street land. I think everyone's going to be talking about how they're going to have to spend more money to sell more cars in anticipation of trying to have a blowout end of year. Like, I think we're going to be. My expectation is that you're going to see hundreds of millions of dollars allocated towards trying to win 2024 in the last 3 months of the year, and I think that continues to reaffirm that the end of the year is going to be the best time to buy a new car. Let's transition over, though, and let's talk about used cars. Before we do, for those of you who weren't with us at the beginning of the show, caredge.com/CQA. It's been awesome getting to know Brandon over the past 2 years from Car Questions Answered. He is a car dealer in his home state, and now you can purchase vehicles from his dealership online through CarEdge.com. Just go to CarEdge.com/CQA. We've got 3 vehicles. We're doing a little pilot run here, Brandon. Let's just talk for a moment about this Honda HR-V, and then we'll talk about the used car market. What inspired you to want to purchase this vehicle and sell it on CarEdge.com?
I like the HRVs. I feel like when we're doing this soft run or whatever, I wanted to make sure when I was picking these cars, one, they're going to be under factory warranty. So if there's any issues, then the customer can actually take them to Honda or Toyota and make sure that stuff's covered, the powertrain, whatever. And that's look for specific miles, specific price. When I was looking at these cars, I wasn't necessarily looking for a certain type of car. I know we have another one that's a Civic that I'm working on right now that we're going to get out. But I really wanted to focus on Hondas and Toyotas with at least the first rollout. Very popular cars. I think they're going to be easier to sell. And the biggest thing too is really when you're looking at this, you're seeing it all in price. A lot of times when you're looking to buy cars, even if you're pulling up something on like CarEdge, Car Search or whatever, then you're going to find advertised prices. But when you get to the dealership, you're probably going to be paying an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. It's been recent. I went to a dealership. I found a car that I wanted to buy off of you guys' site, and it was $13,000. I went to the dealership, and it turned into an $18,000 car as soon as I walked in the door. So this is something that I want to try to help fix. This is a soft launch, whatever. If it does well, we see that all the moving pieces are in the right places, and we're able to get customer with car and they're happy, and the transaction becomes smooth. Then we're going to run with our heads down, and we're going to do this in a big way. So
can I ask one question? I know that, Brandon, at your dealership, you don't charge a dock fee. So the price that's listed is, I'm assuming, is the price plus just taxes and state tags.
Yeah. And a lot of so if it's an out-of-state customer or whatever, like registration and all that stuff will be handled by the customer. So literally that's what you're paying us, is what you see, that $20,000, that $26,000 for the Camry, that whatever, that's literally what you're paying for the car total. And you see all of the expenses there that I put into the car. You see exactly what I make, what CarEdge makes, as transparent as possible. That's the service that we're trying to do with buying and selling these cars.
And I just want to add a comment here from the chat, and then we are going to talk about the used car market, because the Black Book data that just came out today is pretty. I don't know. I find it to be fascinating, and I think it could actually impact this model, Brandon. So it'll be fun to talk about transparently with everyone the impact of the market moving on this model that we're testing out together. From Christopher, can specific makes and models be requested to be bought at auction, or is it just what's available? Also, are cars able to be shipped? I will mention CarEdge handles all the shipping. Okay, so that is something that we are handling on Brandon's behalf. So all the shipping will be taken care of by CarEdge. We've got a whole team that works on that specifically here, logistics team. Let's talk about, has this question come up, Brandon? Will we find a way to let the community, vote in terms of what vehicles they want you to purchase at auction?
Even before I got on YouTube, I get asked this question like every 2 days. Do you do special order car? Can I tell you what to go get me at the auction? The answer is no. But here's the thing: we have data now. I have access to data that CarEdge has, so they're able to tell me what their customers are actually looking for. So the more that you request a car, if you're going through the concierge service or whatever, that data is given to me through CarEdge, and I'm able to see what cars you want to buy. So then I can start searching out those cars, and I can buy those because I want to buy what people want to buy. I'm not buying cars that I like. I'm buying cars that you like. So I'm going to try to find the car that you want to buy.
Pretty cool, Pops, isn't it?
It's more than cool. It's unique. Damn it. I mean, I've been around for 73 years now. I spent 43 years in the retail automotive space, and this is the first time I've ever heard of anybody offering vehicles for sale, sharing every bit of information about the vehicle. Pre-purchase inspection, what you paid for the car, what the auction fees were that you paid for the car, transportation to move the car from the auction to your place, reconditioning costs. Everything is spelled out. I've never seen anyone do that before. And it provides an opportunity for people to be more informed when it comes to buying a vehicle that they're buying than they have ever been in their lifetime. So, I think ultimately this thing will be considered the greatest invention since sliced bread. People will be flocking to us and to you, Brandon, because there's no better way to buy a car than know everything about it and every cent that the dealer is making.
So here's something that might also surprise you, Ray. So I'm going to tell people, I'm looking at you in the camera right now. Don't buy these cars. If you do the research yourself, you can go out and you can find a better deal than what you're going to find these cars for. You can go to a dealership. You can find one that you're going to be able to negotiate one cheaper than what I'm going to be able to sell it to you for. Ray agrees with me. He can't hold it in. So here's the thing: we're selling ease. Ease is that, and ease and transparency. So I'm not going to tell you that we're going to be the best deal. That's not what this is about. We are trying to give you a fair deal and be able to be transparent about it, and you know exactly what you're getting into without having to play any games. That's what people have been asking me for a very long time. They don't want to play games, and this is an easy way for them to do it. And Ray, are you still with us?
I am. I just might not be able to speak. I just proved that I shouldn't drink coffee during the show, because if it goes down the wrong pipe, it's not pleasant for me or our listening audience.
CarEdge.com/CQA. We'll answer more questions here at the end of the show. All right, gentlemen. We've got latest and greatest data from Black Book. Black Book does weekly auto insights reports from the used car auctions. Brandon, it'll be interesting to get your take on this, especially with what you're seeing from your team headed to the auctions as well. But you guys can see the numbers right there. Last week at the wholesale dealer auctions, cars lost nearly 3/4 a point of their value. That is 3 times as much depreciation as we would historically expect to see in any given week. And that is on the heels of 0.6% depreciation last week. We are continuing to see used car prices at the dealer auctions fall. Retail prices always lag it. We know they lag it. Trade-in values have taken it significantly. We see that every single day with our concierge car buying service. Holy cow, we are having to negotiate tooth and nail for our customers on their trade-ins. But it seems like there is some downward pressure on wholesale used car prices, which should in turn decrease retail used car prices at some point this year. Does that corroborate with what you're seeing, Brandon?
Absolutely. And the reason why I'm even able to do this, me and Zach, I think maybe 3 months ago, we started talking about doing this. And this is where I saw a big downturn in really even the newer used cars. And if it had been 6 months ago and Zach came to me with this, I'll be like, well, I can't buy cars for a price that I think it's reasonable for us to be able to sell them for. But because prices have gone down so far, and because I'm able to price these cars off of wholesale value and not necessarily what other dealers are selling them for, because dealers are not going to move with the market as quickly as the wholesale values will. That's why we're able to do something like this. And then if you go down to my other niche, which on my lot, I sell cars for $5,000 and under, we're now inheriting a lot more cars from that middle range of car because dealers aren't paying for them. So that means we're able to buy more cars for a cheaper price. So we're really benefiting a lot from a lot of these wholesale prices going down. And we're seeing it every single day. Fewer dealers that want to raise their hand at auction, meaning prices are coming down, meaning we're able to buy more cars for a cheaper price.
Sounds like a wonderful opportunity for both you and the customers out there, and hopefully as we continue to see the wholesale values go down, we will ultimately see some downward pressure on the retail side. Although, as I have been saying for 2 years now, even though wholesale prices are dropping like they are, there's always going to continue to be a shortage of good quality younger pre-owned cars, and so we might not see the retail prices come down as much as we would expect.
Can we spend a second on that, Brandon? Because all the data we get from Cox Automotive says that auto repossession showing up at the dealer auctions is through the roof. It's the highest it's been in the past 5 or 6 years. Are you seeing that at the auctions that you and your team go to? Are the quality of vehicles sketchy to say the least, or really bad to say the worst?
Well, the repos are, and they always have been. So if somebody's not going to make their payment, they know that they're going to lose their car. So if you're going to lose your car, I mean, why do maintenance on it? Why change the brakes? Why fix that scratch that's on the car? That's just the element of what the car is. What I can say, and I'm going to go against the data a little bit, is okay, we've seen this massive rise in repos, and I think we've hit a really, really high point, but I've kind of seen the levels, at least from what I'm seeing, kind of plateau off just a little bit. So I feel like although the rates, the delinquency rates, the repos are still very high, I think it's cooling down just a hair. So maybe we had this logarithmic curve that went up, but I think we're going to start flattening out, and I don't know if it's an element of, okay, the last year and a half has now caught up with us as far as people paying way too much for these cars. Now they're seeing the values go down. So there's people that were going to walk away from the cars or we're going to stop paying. Maybe they've all done that at this point. And now we're going to only have the repos, the repossessions come through the system where people are actually in distress and not necessarily just giving up the car because they want to give up the car. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next 6 months how this works out as prices for the most part have leveled off and are now starting to go down.
I'm just going to throw something out there that I think would be really cool. In one of your future videos, if we're able to get some traction here at caredge.com/CQA, if we're able to get some traction here, you documenting actually purchasing the vehicle at the auction, showing everyone that, really being able to show like, all right, here was a clunker that just came through the lane. We're not touching that one because it was a repo that came in. Okay, this is a good one. I'm interested in it. If we can get it at this price, that means we'll be able to sell it at that price. Such an awesome opportunity for us here to be able to go a level deeper, through your content and our content and then the platform online, to be able to just bring that transparency, because I hear you loud and clear. There's some bad vehicles in there and maybe it's leveling off a little bit, but you obviously don't want to be the proud owner of a vehicle that, ended up being kind of trashed and thrashed when the prior owner had it.
Yeah, that's absolutely on our video list of being able to buy something and we can show it straight from auction, purchase, recon, whatever we're doing, detail, showing all of that, and then getting it to customer hands. That's definitely a video we want to do, and we've actually been asked quite a bit for that. So
awesome.
Definitely going to.
Gentlemen, do you guys mind if we just go to the chat here and answer and address some questions? Again, the big thing today was General Motors at the outset. Pull back the little scroll bar to hear our commentary there. And the other big thing today is at caredge.com/CQA, you can now buy vehicles directly from Brandon and his used car lot on CarEdge.com. It's an incredible service. You never have to worry about getting screwed over or taken advantage of or hidden fees, anything like that. Buy entirely online, CarEdge.com/CQA. We're going to go to the chat here. Lots of questions.
May I say one thing first?
You
said the big news was General Motors. Well, I'm telling you right here and now, the bigger news is the joint venture with us and Brandon. Because we are bringing a level of transparency that no one has ever seen in this industry before. And even though our dear friends at General Motors are going to make, I don't know, $11-12 billion this year, we are changing the industry, and that is much bigger news.
One big soft launch at a time. All right. Now, the other big
That's
news.
how I think. Yes.
The other big news is this is actually just day 2 of our birthday week celebration here at CarEdge. We've got another big announcement tomorrow, and we are doing a huge giveaway on Friday of this week. So please continue to tune in every single day. Yesterday was Insights 2.0 at 29% off with dealer invoice pricing. All right, let's come here, gentlemen, to the chat. We've got from Eleuterio. Thank you for the question. Are the cars for sale? Do they have a clean title? And do we have the option to pick up the vehicles if we're buying out of state? Brandon, what say you?
Yeah, so I'm not buying anything for this with salvage title. My biggest, at least in the beginning, are and it will always be clean title for this. But for my requirements for these cars, at least in the beginning, are they have to be cars that I think are good. So you're going to be mostly probably Toyota or Honda, and I'm going to look at some of CarEdge's data and see if I need to expand to some other brands if you're really wanting them. Probably some Mazdas, stuff like that. Not going to be buying any Ford Explorers or Expeditions or stuff that I'm slightly concerned about quality issues. I'm not going to be buying any of that stuff. Also, it's going to be under factory warranty still, because if we're shipping this thing across the country, if there's something that blows up on the car because of whatever defect in 3-4 weeks, whatever, I want to make sure that the customer is still taken care of. And that's why it's very important to me that they're under factory warranty, at least in the beginning. That's going to be my requirements for when I'm buying these cars. Was there another question with that? I couldn't remember.
Could you pick up the vehicle from you?
Yep. So what the process, under my understanding from Zach, is going to be, okay, they're going to match customer with car through CarEdge's interface. And then once the deposit is paid or whatever, I'm going to actually get in contact with the customer. And then we're going to figure out if they're going to be shipping the car. I guess they would talk to CarEdge about that first. But if you do want to pick it up, that's something that you're going to be able to do, but we're going to wait till everything is finalized to be able to talk about details for you coming to get it at our shop. But it would save you on shipping and would help us with paperwork too. So I kind of want you to come pick it up.
Yeah, so that's the deal, folks. Once you put the deposit down, the car is held for you. But then once all the funds are cleared and everything like that, that's when we can either ship the vehicle to you, or if you're local to the North Carolina region, you could go actually pick it up from Brandon's lot. So that is certainly an option. Maggie was wondering about the manufacturer warranty. And as you heard Brandon say there, he's only sourcing vehicles that still are under the manufacturer warranty. I'll make that note to our team so that we can include that information more clearly on the website. Tina wants to know if we're going to do this with new cars as well. If this pilot program with Brandon goes well, we will try and carry our weight and our community's weight with some of the new car dealers out there in the ecosystem to be this transparent about the vehicles that they're selling. I think that's going to be a long ways off. Go for it.
I got some ideas around that, and I have some people to talk to, so maybe.
Love Brandon. He's a good guy. We've got here about from P. Burns. Carfax. Can we get a Carfax for folks? And if we already have them, that's another thing we should take to the team and make sure that there's a little button there that folks can see the Carfax.
Yeah, we can absolutely do Carfax. I'm paying for it already, so we can give you a Carfax with every single one of these cars. And maybe, I don't know if we need to link it up. We'll figure that out. We can make it happen. Yeah.
We've got from Mr. Sean. Pops, I'm going to toss this one to you. How do you feel about buying a used car online and never test driving it? This one seems, we're often not offering a great service, but also it's a little antithetical to how you've always thought about buying a used car. How do you feel about that?
Well, I prefer that you test drive a vehicle. I'm sure Brandon would prefer that you test drive a vehicle. The last thing anybody would want is for you to buy the vehicle. You finally get it to your house. You go out for a ride and you go, oh my God, the seat's not as comfortable as I need it to be or whatever. My suggestion would be for anybody that wants to buy a vehicle without actually test driving it is go find one as close to what you're looking at from Brandon nearby and go test drive it and just make sure that it's comfortable or it's this or it's that. You know, the good thing you have going for you buying a vehicle without test driving it from Brandon is at least you will know everything about it and you will know everything that's been done to it. But yeah, it's like buying a pair of shoes. Typically, you try them on before you buy them. But I don't know. The Zappos came along and changed that the whole strategy behind that. We'll ship it to you. Try it on at home, and you don't like the damn shoes, ship them back.
So I won't be able to help you out with how comfortable the car is, but I can tell you with all these cars, I'm driving them. Alex is driving them, and they were also getting this third-party company to come in and drive it also. So you don't have to just take the word from somebody who's trying to sell you this car or whatever. We're getting another company to come in and validate that to make sure that, okay, the customer is covered as much as possible before they even have to make the decision.
Again, that's right here. You can click View Complete Inspection Report on any of the vehicles listed at CarEdge.com/CQA. And gentlemen, this is a 110-page report.
Yeah, they're very thorough. They're finding stuff wrong with the car that's not wrong with the car. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do.
110 pages, folks. We are doing our best here.
But 105 of those pages are pictures.
Hey, man, I don't like to read big words, so you know what? It helps me out. We've got here from Jim. If I would buy a car from Brandon, would CarEdge warranty be able to apply before he ships it? Absolutely. This is the same thing we did on the warranty, the extended warranty vehicle service contract. We make $600. CarEdge makes $600 when you buy one of those. If you want one, absolutely, we will help you get that set up. It's the same leading with transparency that we're just trying to bring to all aspects of the auto industry. We've got from Joe K, Brandon Edge. Trademark that, Brandon. You might want to have that in your back pocket. And from Matthew Hoskin here. Matthew, thank you for the kind contribution. Back from vacation, and wow, what have I missed? Ray really needs that ED, come on, man, RS6 trip to get out of his soft launch rut. Euro delivery, of course, is what ED stands for. That's funny. That one was funny. I like that. Yes. And then we've got here from Bo. Bo just signed up for our concierge service. If you're interested in using that, please check it out, CarEdge.com. And Honey Springs Homestead, congratulations. Hello, wanted to thank you and your website. I used CarEdge to locate a new 2023 Subaru Crosstrek Premium Manual, 600 miles away, and drove round trip to buy it. We love seeing community members do great. Brandon, Pops, any parting words, final thoughts before we end today's show?
I'm just glad to be here, and I'm particularly glad that I didn't choke to death on my coffee, because well, I would say this: if I would have died on air, that I guarantee you this show would go viral, and it could be good for views, but that would be.
I just canceled my debt. No talking about dying on air.
Please, people on these cars, please don't call my shop. Please don't call my sales staff. They can't handle it. Zach's got people, plenty of people. Call them. Yeah.
CarEdge.com, folks. Please help us, help Brandon, help us make this process go smoothly. Go to CarEdge.com and we can help you out. Dad, no more opening shows talking about how fat you are. You can continue to call me handsome. That boosts my confidence. And no more talking about dying on the air. Although I do agree it would go viral. So, but that's besides the point.
Good for views.
That's besides the point. Brandon, congratulations on today's launch. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for the partnership. Excited to help some community members out. Dad, thank you as always for your time, energy, and effort. And gentlemen, at least Pops, let's do it again tomorrow, 9 a.m. on the Pacific Coast.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out what gift we're given tomorrow.
Yeah, we got another promotion happening tomorrow, so tune in to learn more.
I'll be here.
See you guys.